In this video, I'm going to talk about the different options available for buying Bitcoin, as well as Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. And I'm going to talk about the benefits, the advantages, as well as the disadvantages for each one, so you can make a decision on which one is right for you. So the first one that I'll cover here is the Bitcoin ETF, which you can get from your brokerage. So you can go into Robinhood, Fidelity, SoFi, any of these here, or any other brokerage that you're with. You can go in and buy the Bitcoin ETF. This was made available in early 2024, and this ETF was a big deal when it was approved, and it's still a big deal now because you can get exposure to Bitcoin from the stock market. So the first advantage is that convenience of getting it, and then it's also easier for tax purposes. So when you buy crypto on a crypto exchange or with a wallet, it's going to make your taxes a bit more complicated. But if you have it in an ETF, it just simplifies things for you. It's just like it's another stock, basically. And then it can also be added to an IRA, so you can get the benefit of putting it into a pre-tax IRA, which you couldn't do before without an ETF. And then it's also regulated, which this can be seen as a good or bad thing, right? But generally it's good for added security, and you know that people aren't going to be taking advantage and doing something they shouldn't be doing. On the downside, one of the disadvantages of a broker ETF is that you don't actually own the crypto. The ETF is just custodying that Bitcoin for you. They do have to hold the amount of the ETF one-to-one with actual Bitcoin, and so that's good, but you technically don't own the underlying crypto asset. And then it also doesn't track the price directly, so you could have some variations. And like if you look here, this is the Bitcoin USD price, and you can see that this is the actual price, right? And if you go back to the 1 month, you'll see that percentage there. And then if you go to something like the Bitwise ETF, you can see that it has a different price. And then also the returns down, looking at the 1 month return, you'll also notice that that's a different number. And so in this case, it's different, and it can fluctuate both ways, whether you could get either less or more of a return. And it's not going to be a huge difference, but it's just something to be aware of. And then another thing to cover here is that the fees, they're relatively low. You can see that you have 0.2% for a lot of these, up to 0.25. But these fees could be higher than other methods of buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, just depending on where you're getting it. So buying crypto on Robinhood, for example, would be cheaper than buying this ETF in terms of fees. The next disadvantage of an ETF is that you can't trade it 24/7. And for me, I think this is the biggest thing, because say it's a Saturday and Bitcoin just went up $5,000 and you want to go in and lock in some profits. You want to take some profits off the table. Well, it's the weekend, so you can't go because the stock market's closed. So you can't actually go in and do that. And say, the other way too, say Bitcoin dropped 5,000 and you want to go in and buy up some more Bitcoin to get it on a discount, but it's outside of the regular stock hours, then you'll just have to wait and you won't be able to do it right then. So you can only do that during stock market hours, so you might miss out on some of those opportunities. Now, another option is that a lot of these brokerages also offer crypto, just like Robinhood, but it's basically like a separate thing from the stock market. They're just offering a kind of on the side. And so the advantages of this is that you can trade it 24/7. I know that Robinhood and Webull both offer this. Beyond that, I'm not too sure about the others, but this allows you to trade whenever you want to, which is good because crypto is a 24/7 asset, right? It's changing all the time. And then you get the low fees with Robinhood, has the zero commission trading, which is nice. And then you also have access to other cryptos. So with the ETF, you have Bitcoin and Ethereum only, but With something like Robinhood, you have access to some other options. Like here's a list. You have Aave, Avalanche, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, Compound, Dogecoin, ETH Classic, Litecoin, Shiba Inu, Stellar Lumens, Tezos, and USDC. So USDC is just a stable coin that you can trade in and out of, and it's backed by the US dollar 1-to-1. So that's just the downside and disadvantages are, again, you don't own the crypto. Technically, it's not yours. It's just Robinhood or whomever is custodying that for you. And then it's also not regulated like an ETF is, so it doesn't have those same government protections. And while there are more options with something like Robinhood, there's still not as many options as a crypto exchange offers. So that's what I'm going to talk about next here. A centralized crypto exchange has, again, more options to choose from, along with allowing you to trade 24/7. You have access to more coins that you can trade, and also just more trading options. So things like if you buy ETH, you can stake it and earn a yield on it, which gives you, I think it's like around 3% yield for staking your ETH. And other coins that you can get on Coinbase have that option as well. Then there's the trading and transfer fees that are also fairly low on a centralized crypto exchanges. Coinbase has the highest fees, but it has a better reputation. And it's also the place that stores most of the Bitcoin for the ETFs in the stock market. So you can pretty much trust it as far as security. Coinbase is seen as the most secure option because they've been around for a while and they've never been hacked, at least as far as I know. So that could be a reason why they have more expensive trading fees. And the fees vary depending on what tier you're at, and that's based on your total 30-day volume or the total asset balance if you're using Coinbase Advanced. So for me, the fees are 0.35% for maker orders and 0.75% for taker orders, which is pricier than other crypto exchanges. So if you look at something like Kraken has cheaper trading fees, and then Bitmart does as well. These two are available in the US. And then there's also Bybit and Binance, and these are available outside the US, and those have even lower trading fees. I think Binance is like 0.1% to trade, and then Kraken is pretty low as well, as is Bitmart. I also think there might still be a Binance US site. I used to use it, but I don't anymore, so that could be an option if that's still around. But so while Coinbase does have higher fees too, one thing I like about it and why I still use it is that their transfer fees, if you're transferring anything but Bitcoin or Ethereum, they do charge you fees for that. But other ones like Solana, if you're transferring out from Coinbase to, say, a private wallet, then they don't charge you anything. So it's free to transfer out with certain coins on certain networks. So that can add up over time, and I use Coinbase just to send from my bank, and then I'll put that into Coinbase, and then from there I can send it out to my wallet. So I like that there's no transferring out fee if I send it to my Phantom Solana wallet. And then from there I can just go on a decentralized exchange. Like, for example, Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. But I can just go on there and trade it for a cheaper fee because the network fees are cheaper on the Solana network. So that's an advantage there of going with Coinbase. Now, as far as disadvantages of a centralized crypto exchange, it's not true self-custody. You do have your wallet address with Coinbase and others, but you don't own the actual crypto key or that 12-word phrase that you can use to restore your wallet like you would with a digital wallet. So the saying in crypto is not your keys, not your crypto. So if you don't have the keys to the wallet, then it's not technically your crypto. It's also not regulated like an ETF is, and so it's more susceptible to people not doing what they should with your money, not being transparent with it, like what we saw with the FTX scandal a couple years ago. So when FTX collapsed, a centralized exchange, after they found out, people found out they were using their money to speculate and do other things with, people lost all their crypto that they had in there. And they did go through bankruptcy and are going to start giving everyone's money back, but it probably won't be the full amount. It'll just be a percentage. But Coinbase and Kraken and Binance have proven themselves to be secure and more transparent. So I feel fairly confident with those. But there is still that risk that they're not being transparent with their money that you have on there. So that's it for the centralized crypto exchanges. And moving on, we can now talk about the digital wallet, which the advantage of this is that you own your crypto. It's self-custody. And so here are the different wallets that you can have. And there's MetaMask is popular. There's also the 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗶𝗺𝗏 wallet, which I like. These are Ethereum-based wallets. And then you also have ones like Phantom, which is for Solana, although they do support Ethereum as well. So that's a good one. And then you have Xverse, which is a Bitcoin wallet, and that's where you can do transactions and stuff on the Bitcoin network. So those are just a few of the wallets that you can get. So you would just go to a website if you want to download it, and like MetaMask is metamask.io/download, and then download it. And then it'll walk you through it, ask you to set up a phrase, and then now you have that wallet and your address, and you have self-custody of your crypto. And again, with this, there's even more trading options with a wallet than there is with a centralized crypto exchange. So you can basically get any coin on any network, and again, just go to something like Uniswap for Ethereum, and you could swap USDC for Ethereum or any other coin on the Ethereum network. There are also other DeFi activities that you can do with the wallet. You can actually borrow and lend your crypto. So that's one thing people do, and they can earn a yield with lending, and then they can also borrow against their crypto. So just like you would go to a bank, you're basically eliminating that banker middleman, just lending and borrowing. You can also do other things like NFTs, and interestingly too, there's also one of the most popular betting sites, Polymarket, is actually a crypto-based website that uses the blockchain. And that's become a mainstream thing that people are using, and they don't necessarily realize that it's built on the blockchain. And there's just a wide variety of things that you can do with your wallet that you can't do on a centralized exchange. And then fees can be even lower depending on the network that you're using compared to the centralized exchanges. If you're using Bitcoin and Ethereum, again, they're usually higher transaction fees than you would pay on a centralized exchange. So that's one disadvantage of using a network like Bitcoin or Ethereum. You also have a 12-word phrase that you have to write and keep down and keep. And that could be seen as an advantage or a disadvantage, because some people don't, as a disadvantage, some people don't like to have that control, because if they lose their 12-word phrase they wrote down, so if they lose that somehow, they're out of luck if they forget their wallet password. They won't be able to restore it without that 12-word phrase or the private key. But I personally like it because I know that that crypto is mine and nobody can mess with it. It's just the highest level of transparency with no middleman getting in the way. And if you look at when the Ukraine and Russia war started, there was a lot of people sending crypto to loved ones and other people in Ukraine, because the banks had shut everything off, and the only way you could get money was to send crypto transactions. Like, so people were sending Bitcoin and other stuff through their crypto, and around that time the price of Bitcoin went up quite a bit. So you can see how that's important for bypassing any government control. And so that's why I like it, and I'm okay storing those phrases, and I have a good system of saving those. And so then another disadvantage is that if it's not a cold storage wallet, it's going to be susceptible to hacks and other things, just like anything else on the internet. Now, to protect against those things, you could go to a cold wallet, which I would recommend. And some of these are Ledger, Trezor, Tangem, and Blockstream Jade. And again, the advantage of this is that it's an offline self-custody wallet, and it's much less vulnerable to hacking, phishing, or malware, unlike a hot wallet, which is a regular internet wallet. And so you still have the same flexibility to trade and do the same things with it that you would with a hot wallet. Although on the downside, it's not as convenient as a hot wallet because you have to take an extra step of plugging in your device, which is a USB device, and then you run the transaction, but then you have to verify it through the USB device. So it's a couple of extra steps, so it might not, makes it not as convenient that way. And then again, you have the phrase, which some people don't like to keep because they're afraid that they're going to lose it, right? They'd rather just do the ETF or centralized exchange. But like the cold wallet, because it's a higher level of, I like the cold wallet because it's a higher level of security and safety, and it's free from government control or hacks. And it's really kind of the ultimate way to store your crypto. As long as you're comfortable keeping that phrase in a safe place and not being afraid to lose it, it's something that I would recommend. And Ledger and Trezor, I'll mention this, have a 12-word phrase. But there's also the Tangem wallet, which is a little bit different. And that's just basically like a credit card. So you don't have to keep your 12-word phrase with that. It's just, you just have the card. So that's kind of a different option if you don't want to store a 12-word phrase. And then one final thing just to mention here is that considering all this and what's right for you, a good rule of thumb is to not keep all your eggs in one basket. And that goes with crypto as well. So I have my crypto in a lot of different places. I have it on the ETF. I have it on Robinhood. I have it some on Coinbase and a couple other exchanges. And I also have it on a little bit on a hot wallet just to make quick transactions, right? But most of it is on a few different cold wallets. And so by spreading it out like that, you don't have a single point of failure. And so that's a lot safer to keep things that way. And then if something gets hacked, you're only losing like 1/20th of your crypto instead of all your crypto, right? So it doesn't hurt to put it in multiple places. But just make sure that you're taking precautions and that you're not interacting with anything suspicious that might drain your account. And then also make sure to double check the addresses that you're sending and receiving to. You'll want to copy the address and always double and triple check everything. So that's it. I hope this gives you a better idea of where to buy Bitcoin and other cryptos. And feel free to comment and let me know what you think and where you buy your crypto and why you like to buy it at a certain place. And then also check out the links in the description. You can get $10 when you sign up for Coinbase with that link. And then there's a discount if you want to get a Ledger wallet, cold wallet too, with a link below. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.